Hi, welcome our dear student of second prep in a new episode of Madrasa على الهوا. Today, inshallah, we are going to continue our lesson 4 in unit 1, water. In the previous episode, we know the importance of water and the physical property of water, which are, number one, water exists in 3 states, solid, liquid, and gases. The boiling point of water, 100 degree, and the freezing point is 0 degree. We also studied or explained the structure of the water, which is two atoms of hydrogen joining by 1 atom of oxygen. The oxygen joined the hydrogen with single covalent bond. There is also another bond between the molecules connecting each other, which is hydrogen bond. And we must know the difference between single, which is between the atom of the molecule, and the hydrogen bond, which is between the molecule itself. We also explain what happened to the water when it reached 4 degree. When the water starts to reach 4 degree, less than 4, the molecules of the water start to collect together. Why they collect together? Due to the presence of hydrogen bond. So they are forming hexagonal shape crystal, large in volume and with large or big spaces. So it makes the density decrease and the ice float. And this is, subhanallah, the density of the ice is less than the water, so that the living organism in the sea and in the ocean are alive, as the ice, the surface only is the ice, and under the surface the water still in the liquid state. Today we are going to continue the next part of this lesson. We are going to explain the chemical property of the water. Okay, starting with the water. Is the water acidic or basic or neutral? We know that basic, the substance or the chemical which change litmus paper to red, while basic change litmus paper to blue. The neutral has no effect on both, or the litmus paper doesn't change. While we are studying, and we are going to know why now, if we add blue litmus paper inside the water, it doesn't change, and add another one with red litmus paper, it also doesn't change. Why? Because water has neutral effect. It doesn't change litmus paper, so the water is neutral. It's not acidic and it's not basic. Why? Let's return to the structure of the water. The structure of water was H and OH hydroxide group. In the first prep, we said that all acid begin with H. So the hydrogen ion, positive hydrogen ion, is the responsible for what? Is responsible for the acidic property. And all bases end with OH, negative hydroxyl group. So OH react with the blue litmus paper, the red litmus paper, change it to blue. So H, the hydrogen ion, is the acidic property, while the OH is the basic property. When we analyze the water or we ionize the water, it gives equal amount of H and OH. And عندي H equal OH. H responsible for the acidic, OH responsible for the basic. Both of them makes the water neutral effect. So the litmus paper doesn't change to red and doesn't change to blue. It's still unchangeable, so it is neutral effect. Let's see together. Okay, this is the chemical property of the water. As we see here, that's the litmus paper of the red and the blue doesn't change. Both of them doesn't change. Why they doesn't change? Because it has a neutral effect. Okay, let's see together. Water has a neutral effect. Why? Because they doesn't change litmus paper. Give reason. Pure water. And we said what's meant by pure water? All the molecule H2O has neutral effect on litmus paper. يبقى again give reason why the pure water has neutral effect on litmus paper. What's meant by neutral effect? The litmus paper color doesn't change. The red remain red and the blue one remain blue. Okay, why? Because water contain positive hydrogen ion H plus, وال H plus هي responsible for the acidic effect, and negative hydroxide ions which has the basic effect. يبقى give reason why pure water. What's meant by pure water? H2O only. Neutral effect, so the litmus paper is not going to change because water positive hydrogen, hydrogen responsible for the acidic, and OH hydroxide ion which has a basic effect. So they are equal amount and the water doesn't change. This is about the chemical property or the ionization of water or its effect on litmus paper. Okay, and this is the equation. Water is ionized into H and OH. What's the H and OH? They are equal amount of both of them. Okay, now we are going to have another experiment. This is water, okay, and we are going to make electrolysis. What's meant by electrolysis? Let's see this experiment first and watch it carefully. Okay, we'll see gases here, and in the other pool there are other gas. Okay, let's explain this experiment. Okay, now we are going to explain this experiment or what we meant by water electrolysis. Water electrolysis means that the water is going to separate into its main component. What's its main component? I'm going to give oxygen and hydrogen ion, oxygen gas and hydrogen gas. How the water separate in its component? Only by two methods, by electrolysis. يبقى الwater to separate it or to return the water its to main component giving oxygen gas and hydrogen gas, it must be electrolyzed. طيب, one of the students who is going to ask, how can I electrolyze the water and the pure water is bad conductor of electricity? Again, pure water, the water consists only of H2O, not the drinking water or the tap water, are bad conductor of electricity. So to electrolyze or make the pure water good conductor of electricity, I'm going to add a drop of sulfuric acid. I'm going to add what? Drop of sulfuric acid. So the water become acidic. We know just now it is neutral. By adding a drop of acid, it will change to acidic. And acids are good conductor of electricity. يبقى first we are going to change the water from bad conductor to good conductor of electricity. How I can change the good conductor to bad conductor? By adding sulfuric acid. This is number one. Number two, I'm going to add or join an electric current in the water. In adding the electric current into the acidified water, I'll find that we know that each electricity has a positive pole and a negative pole. And the positive pole is called anode and the negative pole is called cathode. Again, the negative anode and the positive pole is what we call it? Cathode. When the water is electrolyzed, I found that oxygen gas and hydrogen gas are separated. Each one of them go to one of the pole. One gas on one of the poles and the other gas on the other pole. Type. Why each one go to a different type of pole? We know that the oxygen is non-metal and its ion is negative ion. So the negative ion, oxygen, will be collected on the positive pole. A negative ion collected or attracted on the what? On the negative, on the positive pole. And hydrogen ion is positive ion. Hydrogen ion is what? Is positive ion. So it is going to be collected on what? On the negative pole. And the negative pole, we call it cathode. يبقى again, number one, we must add sulfuric acid to the water. Why? So the water will be good conductor of electricity. Number two, oxygen gas collected at the positive pole. Why? Because it is a negative ion. Hydrogen gas collected on the negative pole. Why? Because it is a positive ion. By observing the experiment, we are going to find that the gas of the hydrogen equal double the volume of oxygen. What's meant by double the volume? If we have 10 centimeter cube of hydrogen, I'm going to have 5 centimeter of oxygen. Again, water is going to separate into what? Hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. The amount of hydrogen released is double to the amount of oxygen released. Why? Again, return back to the structure of water. Water composed of what? H2O. H2O. 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 oxygen. يبقى when separating the molecule of water, it gives 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. The other molecule, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So the hydrogen volume will be double the oxygen volume. The hydrogen volume will be double the oxygen volume. يبقى again, what's meant by water electrolysis? Water electrolysis means we separate the water into its component, oxygen gas and hydrogen gas. Type. We have apparatus or a device used for this electrolysis. It's known as Hoffman voltmeter. It's known as what? Hoffman voltmeter. يبقى what's Hoffman voltmeter? It is the device used to analyze or electrolyze the water. Okay, let's see the next slide. This is Hoffman voltmeter, as we see. Okay, this is what the use of, or what's the importance of the Hoffman voltmeter. It is the apparatus or a device used for what? Electrolysis of acidified water. Again, Hoffman voltmeter, apparatus or a device or a tool used, or what's its importance for the electrolysis of acidified water. Type. Why we acidify the water? Because pure water is bad conductor of electricity. Because pure water is bad conductor of electricity. Okay, now we are going to see this instrument. Okay, this is the anode, and we said that the anode is the positive pole. The other side we call it cathode, and this is the negative pole. What gas collect on the anode? Let's rise up. Oxygen gas. Oxygen collect on what? On the anode, which is positive or negative pole. It is the positive pole. Why? Because oxygen is negative, so it is going to collect on the opposite side, positive. Negative collect on positive pole. The other side, what we have? Cathode. What's the cathode? It is the negative pole. The hydrogen will collect on the cathode. Why? Because hydrogen ion is what? Is positive. So the positive is going to collect on the negative pole. Let's have a look on this device also. This is the amount of oxygen released, as we see in the diagram. The hydrogen, it's much more volume of gas evolved. Why? Because 2 hydrogen atom to 1 oxygen atom. Okay? Give reason. In Hoffman voltmeter, the amount of hydrogen gas is double the oxygen gas. Okay? Because each water molecule, the structure, H2, 2 atoms and 1 oxygen, H2O, contains 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. Okay? And we see in this experiment, as in the figure, okay, these bubbles indicate that the gas evolve. Body bubbles of gas. This test tube, which one of them is the oxygen and which the other is the hydrogen? Which is bigger? The bigger one is this one. So this is the hydrogen. And this is the smallest one. So this is the oxygen. Why? Because for every 2 hydrogen atoms, there is only 1 oxygen atom. And this is the equation. The water decomposed into 2 hydrogen to 1 of the oxygen. Okay? Again, give reason during electrolysis of acidified water, by Hoffman's voltameter, oxygen gas evolves at the anode. While hydrogen gas evolves at the cathode. We explain it. Why? Because oxygen is what? Negative ion. And hydrogen is what? Positive ion. So the negative ion will collect on positive and hydrogen will collect on the negative. Let's see the answer. Because oxygen ion is negative, so it evolves at the anode, and the anode is positive. While hydrogen ion is positive, so it evolves at the cathode is negative. And this diagram show us the difference between oxygen and hydrogen in volume. The hydrogen is double the volume. The hydrogen is double the oxygen volume. Okay? Let's have a problem here. The oxygen gas is 20 centimeter cube. Okay? Calculate the volume of hydrogen. يبقى if I have oxygen gas 20 centimeter, calculate the volume of hydrogen gas. We said that the hydrogen is double the oxygen, so hydrogen gas is equal to what? Equal to 40 centimeter cube. Because it's what? It is double the volume. It is double the volume. Okay? But when I am going to examine both of them, okay, I'm going to draw Hoffman like this. Okay. Here we added what? Sulfuric acid, diluted sulfuric acid. Okay. This is positive and negative. The negative we call it cathode. The positive we call it anode. Okay. What will the observation we are going to have? This is the hydrogen and this is the oxygen. Okay, how can I test for both oxygen and hydrogen? Okay, when I open this here, okay, the oxygen evolve from this side and I can test it with a glowing spring. If there is a glowing spring or a burn, it will increase. يبقى هنا increase glowing. يبقى the oxygen increase glowing of the glowing spring. All the burn increase as the oxygen we know that it help in burning. When we open this and the hydrogen gas evolve, we make a sound, pop sound. Why? Because the hydrogen gas is pushing outside this opening, so it gives a pop sound. Okay, so what's the gas which gives a pop sound? It is hydrogen. What's the gas which increase the glowing of the splint? Is the oxygen gas. Okay. Next, give reason adding a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid water during electrolysis. We said before why? Because pure water is bad conductor of electricity. Okay, because pure water is bad conductor of electricity. Okay, now we are going to have another definition. Okay, now we are going to discuss water pollution. يبقى we explain the chemical property of water. We say that the pure water, H2O only, it has a neutral effect on both litmus paper, and it can be separated into oxygen gas and hydrogen gas only by what? By electrolysis and using Hoffman voltameter. The oxygen is collected on the positive pole, and the hydrogen is collected on the negative pole. Okay, now we are going to know what's meant by water pollution. Water pollution means any substance added to water cause the change in its property and harm or affect the human. Okay, let's see together. يبقى addition of any substance to water which causes continuous change in water and affecting the health. Okay, now this is a picture on how we misuse the water and we make it pollution. How many types of water pollution we are going to have? Number one, natural water pollutants, and the other artificial water pollutant. Natural, what's meant by natural water pollutant? They are pollutants which what? Arise from natural phenomena like what? Volcano, death of living creatures, and lightning. Type. What about the artificial water pollution? They arise from what? Different human activity. Different human activity. يبقى two types, natural pollutant from the natural phenomena and the artificial from the human activity. Okay, let's see another type, artificial, biological. This is due to what? Human waste, and it causes what? Bilharzia, typhoid, and hepatitis. The drainage water or the sewage water is on the ocean and the river. The second type is chemical pollution. What's the chemical pollution? This is due to the factories, and it gives lead. Okay, الفactories دي بيبقى فيها high percent of heavy metals. Lead causing death of brain cells. The mercury causes blindness. Arsenic leads to liver cancer. The last two, water pollution, radioactive. This is due to the atomic waste in the radioactive nuclear reactor. Thermal, because the nuclear reactor used water in cooling and dumping the water again, but with a very high temperature and very high temperature. يبقى the nuclear reactor makes what? Makes two types of pollution. Makes radioactive pollution and thermal pollution, and this is cause what? Death of the marine creatures. Death of what? Of the marine creatures. Okay, now we are going to make a quickly revise about what we have taken. Number one, we have taken the chemical property of the water. It has a neutral effect. It can be separated into oxygen and gas and hydrogen gas by electrolysis. We explain the types of water pollution, which are natural and artificial, and the type of artificial are four types: biological and nuclear, thermal, and chemical pollution. Okay, now we reach our the end of our episode. Until next week, inshallah. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.